Have you found yourself sometime in a situation when you're working towards getting a result on your project and you're thinking like, where to let my stakeholders or my customer know that we have already achieved this huge milestone? I mean, why keeping them informed and why letting them know sooner if the result is not ready, right? This is Chris and welcome back to my Project Management Sandbox. In this episode, I would like to touch base on why it's important to keep your stakeholders informed and how actually to do this efficiently. By the way, if you are not subscribed to my channel yet, pause for a second and tap the subscribe button. Don't forget the notification bell. Let's do this and let's keep going. To get started, let's recall who the stakeholders are. Stakeholders are everybody who can impact or who could be impacted by the project. This means that stakeholders are not only your customers, stakeholders are your team, your colleagues. This also could be end users, which is not less important, and these guys should also be informed about what's going on and what's happening with the application, specifically if this is already live. So keep in mind that when we talk about the stakeholders, this is not necessarily someone who is ordering the project, but these are also people who are engaged in the product lifecycle in general. Now let's define why it's a problem when the stakeholders are not informed. The number one thing to keep in mind, if they're not in the loop about what's happening, they're just kind of in the dark. They do not know what's going on, they do not know what to expect, and they might be even stressed. Being unaware is like kind of a negative feeling, you know? For example, if we talk about like interviews, imagine yourself in this situation. If you are the person who is passing through the interview stages and the recruiter is not getting back to you with the update, you are not aware of what's happening. Are they already moving you to the next stage? What have they decided after the past interview? Or even are they still considering you as a candidate? And the same stuff is happening with your customers. They have paid, they have invested their own funds into the product, and they're willing to find out what's the progress is, what are you doing, how are you consuming those funds, are you making any progress? This is one of the reasons to keep people in the loop, to keep them up to date and to let them know what is happening around the product. Another thing that you might want to think of and you might want to keep in mind is that the work of other stakeholders might be dependent on your work, and they might have some news that's gonna impact your scope of work and your work results as well. Now, what are the tools and what are my tips for you in order to keep your customers, your stakeholders informed? Like, how are you going to do this? Number one is to set proper expectations. This means that you need to be as much transparent as possible so that you would understand the work results, the deliverables in the same way, meaning that none of you should have any second thoughts or any guesses about what's gonna happen and how the final result is gonna look like. Define the communication channels and find out how are you going to deliver information, what type of the information you're going to deliver, and who are the recipients of this information. In other words, you need to be clear on what are you using for the communication. Either this is Zoom, Google Meet, Teams. What are the text opportunities? Should this be Slack, Teams, or anything else? What are those channels? And what type of the information is going to be delivered in each specific channel? What are you going to talk about over calls? What are you going to communicate via emails? What's going to be kept in the documentation? And what type of updates would you be able to deliver in a simple text message? And by the way, setting these communication rules is also something to be aligned in terms of the expectations so that your stakeholders understand where and when they are going to receive some sort of information and what types of information are available in those channels that you're going to provide them. Number 3, not less important, is to keep the schedule. Once you have established the communication channels, set up the schedule when the information is going to pass through. And not only this, when the schedule is established, make sure to follow your schedule yourself. Even if you find yourself in a situation that there is no updates, nothing significant has happened since the last time you have been chatting or since the last time you have been sending the update, make sure to still stick to the schedule and to send the information over to your stakeholder so that they are in the loop. If you're receiving information that nothing is happening but everything is on track, or nothing is happening but we still have a solution and we are following the steps you have agreed on, this is also a valuable update that you are able to deliver. Another good tool that you potentially would want to use, and this is number 4 in my list, is to show how the progress is going. This could be a demo of the results, highlighting the current progress, what the team has managed to achieve during the given period of time, and what are the next steps. And another option is show how the progress is going by educating your stakeholders. Chances are that some of your stakeholders are not techy enough. Probably they have never been using the tools that you are currently using. My proposal here is to educate your stakeholders and to show how the progress is being tracked by demonstrating the tool itself, how it is used, what are the options and opportunities this tool gives, and potentially to even give them the access to this tool, and sharing some specific filters or dashboard where they can find information about the progress at any time when they need it. Number 5 in my list is to be transparent. By being transparent, what I mean is that if something goes wrong, do not hide it. Firstly, all your stakeholders are basically working towards the same goal. And secondly, you're fully focused on the current situation, you're looking into the solutions, and you understand how to fix the problem if this happens. By being transparent, I do not mean that you would like to throw all the problems to your stakeholders. What I mean is that just keep them in the loop, telling them if something goes wrong, but providing solutions on how this problem is going to be solved. This is the project management magic that you would like to perform. Number 6 in my list is to ask for feedback. That's really important from the perspective that getting feedback is a possibility to grow, and this feedback might relate not only to your performance as a project manager, which is also important, but to the team performance in general and to the work results that you're delivering, because this feedback would give you an opportunity to become even better, to improve some offsets that you potentially have, and to deliver a better experience to your stakeholders. And last thing for today in my list, but not least important, is to review the results. Once any piece of work is delivered, make sure that you dedicate some time to review the results, to make kind of a retrospective, to find out what was good, what was not good and could be improved, and which is not less important, make sure to write down the action items and to follow with them so that the next result would be even better. I hope that was helpful. Let me know in comments, how do you establish the communication with the stakeholders and how do you keep them informed? Don't forget again to give me a like. I'm really waiting for your likes, guys. Thank you, and see you in the next episode.